All right, thank you everybody for joining us, and thanks to the Watershed ladies and all the other outreach folks that are out here today. I also do outreach, but that's not where I started. So I'm going to kind of give you guys a little bit of my background, and then I'm going to give you an overview of all the jobs at East Maui Watershed, and then you guys can ask me more personal questions if you want later. Let's see if I can advance my screen. Okay, so this is me. I do community outreach and education for the East Maui Watershed Partnership. I've been doing it for, gosh, I think 11 years now, but that's not where I started. I grew up in Minnesota. I went to college at the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, and I got a degree in recreation management. And basically at the time when I went to college, I was like, I love the outdoors, I liked camping, and I wanted to do anything that had to do with the outdoors, and recreation management seemed like it was a good fit. So I went to school, and after school, I ended up moving to Hawaii. Actually, I moved to Colorado, and then I moved to Hawaii. But when I moved here, I got a job as a tour guide leading hiking tours. And so leading hiking tours, I learned a lot about the plants of Hawaii, mostly non-native actually, because I wasn't in a lot of areas with native plants. But I learned a lot of the history and the culture of Hawaii too, and was really kind of enamored by it all and how it played out, and kind of fell in love with some of the different beautiful places I was seeing. And on that job, I also worked part-time with this girl here named Jill, who you might have just seen in Kim Thayer's end photo, because she still works for Mauna Kahala by Watershed Partnership. And she told me about this awesome job working outdoors and hiking in the mountains. And I was like, that sounds great. And so when a position came up, I applied and got a job, and I worked over in the field with them for about 4 years. And then a position came up with the East Maui Watershed Partnership, and I applied there, and that's where I became their public relations and education outreach person. And so one advice I would give you guys is conservation is a small community, and it's really nice to be able to like start somewhere, but if you don't like it, jobs open up somewhere else. You can kind of get jobs other places, but we network with each other a lot. We know each other a lot. And so once you kind of become that in that community, you kind of gain all these friends right away, which was cool, what I always really liked. And you're not always stuck in one place. It's nice to kind of move around and try new things too. But in general, the East Maui Watershed Partnership and conservation work, we just do this because we usually are people that like to work outdoors. We like to take care of the land and believe in our environment. And then we like to take selfies in awesome places. So we do it because we care about a lot of these things that were here before us and recognize that they belong here. And we get to work in this office. Our office is the outdoors, the forest, and one of our favorite ways to commute is via the helicopter. I'm just threw this in here to get an idea, like this is all of the people that work at East Maui Watershed Partnership. We are not a huge organization. You have basically the entry level down in the bottom where you become like a field assistant, or like we talked about interning. We usually have an intern every year at some point in time, which will oftentimes get hired on later. But you kind of start down there, and then you can kind of work your way up into field crew or leader or field crew supervisor. There's other positions in conservation. If you're not a big field person, like I do community outreach, I do enjoy the field, so I do go out from time to time, but you don't have to. And there's also people in the office that do admin and data assistance, and they kind of support our program manager, who's the person at the top, and they usually kind of came from the bottom and worked their way up, and they're responsible now for attending meetings with county members and state members, and they write grants and get funding to make it all work. So that's kind of the general layout of different positions that you could have. A typical work week for our field crew is, right now I'm proud to say we have 2 ladies of field crew. So again, a lot of people think this field crew, heavy labor, hiking, fence building work is a dude's job, but it is a woman's job too. But that will often their week will entail removing invasive plants. It will be building fences to keep out, like everybody's kind of said, the animals like pigs and deer and goats that don't belong in our forested areas. A lot of maintaining all the different equipment that we do and cleaning it, make sure the gear works well and is ready to go. We do a lot of monitoring and data collection. So we use GPS units, handheld GPS units, and then we take that data and we put it on a computer and we turn it into fancy maps. And so GIS or ArcView is, I know, a degree in itself too. And that's something, if you're interested, you can kind of look into that as well if you like to work on computers. And a lot of times field crew will assist doing outreach. So we do volunteer trips and hikes. So they'll assist us. We do community events. We do roadside cleanups from time to time. There's often specialized training that you're going to get in these kinds of jobs. And then kind of looking at particularly the work that I do. I lead hikes with community and school groups. So I take out like Sierra Club, or I take out school groups. Again, like Kim said, anybody that will listen to me, I'll take them out. I'll go into schools and talk to different grade levels about the work we're doing and why it's important. We have big events. We have a big art show we put on at the Huliau upcountry every year, kind of raising awareness about native species. And then our program manager, this is his typical work week, just planning, looking at maps, deciding where we're going to go and what we're going to do that week. So things that can help you along the way, same, I'm just really repeating what everybody else has said. Learn your Hawaiian plants and animals. Learn why they're there, how they got there, whether they should be there, are they invasive, are they not, Hawaiian culture, any of that kind of stuff. And then like just a willingness to be outdoors, hike, camp, be with others, and being a part of a team. Because I know there's many days that it was important when I was out in the field, especially doing that kind of work where, like Kiahi said, you're getting rained on and day after day and camping, and you got to work with your team and have a good attitude. And if you're prepared for that kind of work outdoors, that really helps. Get experience. The best thing is to gain experience by internships is really a great way to get in, because then all these conservation people will know who you are, they know your experience, they know how you work. And a lot of times that goes a long way when positions become available. So I would definitely say an internship is a really great way to get yourself a job. And so here's a lot of different internship programs that you could be a part of, and then also volunteering with us. A lot of us have different volunteer programs once COVID subsides and those pick up again. There's this website, mauimauka.org, that has a page all about volunteering on Maui with different places you could volunteer. And then there's this other website that was created called Conservation Connections. That's like the whole state and different places you can volunteer to. So if you're not on Maui and you want to check into other stuff, that's another great place to check out. And then again, follow us. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And then if you have or want to talk to me at all, my email is down there at the bottom as well. And that's all I have.